Want an unfair advantage to dominate your fantasy football league? Look no further and download SquadQL, the only mobile app you need to crush your friends and rivals. SquadQL recommends the best starting lineup for each week based on your starters, bench players, and free agent pool. SquadQL provides waiver and trade recommendations too. Go to squadql.com to download the app for free. SquadQL, brought to you by the creators of RotoQL. Check it out.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, what's going on? It's Monday. It's September 17th. This is the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Andy, Mike, and Jason reflecting on the majority of Week 2 here today. So much going on. We got the rewind, studs, duds, rising stars, reactions, sweet, fancy Mahomes.
Whoa!
Goodness
mercy.
gracious.
I knew I should have made
I
him a
was
start.
wrong. I was wrong. Mind you, greatest 2 games in NFL history, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
I laughed, though, because I had to make this. Look, if you listen to me about pumping the brakes, I meant cut the brakes.
Yeah. You gotta let it go.
And I have 2 leagues, and thankfully I'm probably going to win both of them. But I started 2 quarterbacks over Pat Mahomes. So he's sitting on the bench of 2 of my leagues. Big Ben and Cam Newton.
Well, you're just getting ready in case
who I
you
think
tie.
are the number 2 and 3 quarterbacks of the week. But sweet, fancy Mahomes.
Yes.
What is going on? Guys,
Here's what's
how much can you react to these 2 games in terms of like a dynasty league, right? Like how high would you rank Pat Mahomes in a dynasty league all of a sudden?
That's a legit question, because if I think of the list of people I would for sure want ahead of Pat Mahomes, it's
Do you want
nobody.
Carson Wentz ahead of Pat Mahomes in a dynasty
well, that's what
league?
I mean. If you're saying for sure, no, not necessarily for sure. We haven't seen him come back from this injury, so yeah, I mean, I would probably still put Carson Wentz ahead, but it's close. And my true belief, I said this in preseason, I said this after week 1, disagreeing a little bit with your pump.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that Pat Mahomes is 100% legit. Now, he's not, throw 5 touchdowns a game, change the NFL history books great, but he is fully legit. You can count on him. You can start him. I mean, at this point, this isn't wild and breaking news, but, as opposed to, say, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's on fire, throwing like 78%. Dude, I love this guy. He is
Big fan.
Andy, have you seen
Yep.
the picture of him at the press
The
conference?
whole world has seen the picture.
Talking about Conor McGregor?
So good.
And then, have you seen the video where D-Jax comes in and I don't know what is true about the story or not, but Fitzpatrick alleges that he borrowed some things from Deshaun Jackson specifically for the presser.
When all of your wide receivers are happy, it's a good time. And Florida is undefeated.
It's going
The
well.
Dolphins
It's going well for football.
and the Bucks
Yeah.
are having an incredible start to the season. We'll get into all of it. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. On YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. Click that bell and you'll be notified of Sunday Live with Mike the Fantasy Hitman. He went live this past week.
It was delightful.
You were so live. Very live.
Live.
We're going to talk about the Josh Gordon situation as well. Jason, I do want to check in with you. Now, it's very well known that you have a super team in
Dominant powerhouse.
our league of record.
And on this show, we talk about the importance of the draft and the draft season.
Yes.
It is where you set the foundation. This is where you get ready to have a fantastic year.
Ultimate draft kit.
But we always say you can't win at the draft.
Right.
You can certainly lose at the draft, but you can't win at the draft. Meanwhile, Jason
Let's focus
Moore,
on the not winning.
No. Meanwhile, Jason Moore, who of the 3 of us says that phrase the most,
Yes.
declared He declared victory of our league after the draft on Twitter, on this show.
The words undefeated did come out of his mouth.
Yes.
Is there a question here?
We're just checking in. How's it going?
It's going.
How's week 2?
Week 2 is off to look. It's not over, but I give myself a solid 5% chance at victory.
For those that want to follow along at home with Monday Night Football, Jason needs Russell Wilson and Trey Burton to outscore Allen Robinson by 32 points.
Yeah, I mean it can happen. I need Allen Robinson. If Allen Robinson just goes out and has a complete stinker and a goose, then I think I'll get there. But it's probably not going to happen. Might start 0-2. And let me just say this, football. Don't care.
Oh,
my team is too good to lose, and we have people every single year start out 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, and then they hit hot, and they run, and they hit hot. They hit hot. They listen. They make the right start sits, and they win the championship. This happens every single year.
Hot.
You cannot. Here's what you can't do. You can't tilt off of a couple losses, and it's so easy to do. You cannot lose and then all of a sudden think, I've got to blow things up. My team's not winning. I've got to make wholesale changes. Now, you've got to analyze your team, and maybe your situation does require that, but
we're here to help.
Don't.
We're here to help. Well, it might.
I love
We'll talk about.
I will say this.
We'll talk about David Johnson.
Yeah, David Johnson, Dalvin Cook, Devonta
I love
Freeman.
that you are so committed to the show and the fan base that you have decided to put yourself out there. You are the Rock.
You're darn right.
You're showing people what it's like to just lose and lose and lose and lose and lose and stay positive. Good for you, Jason.
Oh, my goodness.
Weekly Rewind.
All right, we do
I'm
have
undefeated in that league.
I am as well.
Undefeated in our Dynasty League, where I destroyed you, Mike.
By the way, Dynasty League, Brooks did not disrupt my perfect season yet. I Keelan cold all over him. That's what I did. All right, big news in the Weekly Rewind before we get into our studs and duds. Let's start with what broke over the weekend. Josh Gordon went from out with a hamstring injury to out on the street. The Browns released a statement that they will be releasing Gordon today. Since that news, Adam Schefter has reported many times that they're more likely to trade Josh Gordon. We don't want to dwell too long on the rumor mill of Josh Gordon and possible destinations because it's very possible that he has a new home by the time you listen to this podcast.
Or is not on a team.
Correct. Or just completely released.
And if he is released, he becomes a free agent,
yes.
does not go through the waiver wire, so he could sign wherever he wants.
Yeah, the last we heard, 8 to 10 teams may be in on picking up Gordon. The gist was that the Browns were concerned with his sobriety, on the verge of relapsing, late to meetings, hurt his hamstring in a photo shoot, and are just...
Yeah, the reports are all over the place because I heard that they were concerned about his past demons coming up again. Then you heard that it had nothing to do with that. You heard it...
A suspension is not imminent. That's what fantasy owners should know.
Which is insane.
It's a crazy situation.
It's Browns. Because you hold on to a guy forever. A suspension is not imminent. He just scored a touchdown in the rain last week and is dominant, and you let him go. And here's the thing. If you want to make that decision for your team, I support it. You that's fine.
It's your team.
But you need to realize he's about to go sign somewhere and dominate.
No, he isn't. I don't agree with you. I actually think
this is a weird role reversal
he could, but to say he is ridiculous.
The reason I say he is because the Browns cut him.
But I'm going to give the Browns some rope here because
you love the Browns.
No, guys, I'm going to give him rope because they might get compensation for Josh Gordon, and if he really is struggling, first of all, let's put the player first.
We don't know what's going on.
Let's put the player first. If I read this morning from a verifiable source that every Brown that was spoken to about this issue is concerned about Josh Gordon the person. They're not throwing a fit about the situation. They're not dropping expletives because he's off the team. They're all saying he needs help more than a new team. That's exactly what they're saying. So if the Browns get compensation for Josh Gordon and all these years lost, let's say they get a third, fourth round pick for him. Because who knows? If there's 8 to 10 teams fighting, we've seen some bad wide receiver cores out there, have we not?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's teams fighting for them, the Browns get compensation and the distraction gone from that team, Antonio Callaway gets a chance to go and blossom, I'm going to give him some rope. And I do not think it's a foregone conclusion that Gordon goes and dominates somewhere. I think he could, but he could also be out of the league in 2 weeks. I traded amazingly, fortunately, without any knowledge of the situation. I traded Josh Gordon in Dynasty for Doug Baldwin the day before this happened. And part of it is the risk mitigation of Josh Gordon. If you have Josh Gordon, you want to roll that die, go ahead.
Yeah, there's certainly huge
You need
risk.
to hold him, though. If you're in a season
You don't drop it.
If you're in redraft, because that was the
what are you,
actionable
the Browns?
The actionable fantasy football advice is you hold on to Josh Gordon or trade him. You do not cut Josh Gordon.
So maybe by the time you're listening to this, you're like, oh, yeah, he's on the,
He's on the Eagles.
the Montana Alouettes.
Maybe.
Joe Mixon will be out a couple of weeks at least with a procedure that he had Saturday to clean up loose particles in the knee. This is why he ran off the field multiple times in the Thursday night game.
You've heard it said as early as a week. 2 weeks is the most common, but this is the exact same procedure that Sony Michel had done early August. That obviously kept him out,
longer than 2 weeks.
Over a month.
There were some benefits for fantasy owners in the order of what things happened.
Yes.
For Mixon. You got him this past week, which was a fine, double-digit game, nothing special. Then he got to have the procedure before Sunday, which means he gets a little more lead time on that situation. But Gio Bernard's going to be an ad this week.
Yes.
Mark Walton is likely to split time with him. And if you're a Mixon owner, you're without him for a little while. Speaking of without him for a little while, Devonta Freeman didn't play. He's expected to miss a couple of weeks as well.
This is a little bit concerning in the sense that it's the same issue. He's re-aggravating an injury from November, and so they're hoping the rest kind of heals it. But it's a little worrisome to me for re-aggravation, or you should say re-aggravation. Definitely grab Tevin Coleman. He looked fine against a tough matchup this last week. I tried like the dickens to get Coleman, but I instead played against him.
Not as good.
No, not as good.
Larry Fitzgerald exited with a hamstring injury the Rams game.
That was a game?
The Cardinals are the worst.
Deep analysis.
The Cardinals are the absolute worst.
Yep.
To find something positive to say about the Cardinals is the equivalent
Patrick Peterson.
to that scene in Jurassic Park where they have to dig through that pile of poop and go elbow deep. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, but in that scene, they're looking for the poisonous plants.
Yeah, and when you pull your hand out, you have nothing. You found nothing. All you did was put your arm into poop. That's all that happened. They are the worst. That is all I'm going to say.
It's not going well.
Speaking of the second worst, the Bills. Running back LeSean McCoy suffered a rib injury in the third quarter, returned for one more carry, didn't return after that. Mike, what's the latest?
Well, update from this morning, Shady McCoy has fractured ribs. He says he's going to play through it. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting another update. Now he does not have broken ribs. Who knows what's going on with Shady McCoy?
Is this 1920s medicine we're dealing with right here?
This is just LeSean.
They put some leeches on.
Yeah, I mean,
this is LeSean McCoy. This is what happens every game. He gets crazy injured. He's done for the season. Whoa, wait.
He's back.
Update. He's on the field. I was telling Mike before the show, I actually believe he broke his ribs, but has Wolverine healing. And that's why he's always legitimately tearing his ACL. It just heals, and he gets back up on the field. So he's going to play through it. It's not going to matter. He's in that David Johnson boat right now.
Would you rather play running back for the Bills or break your ribs?
Man. If I could just have the broken ribs, I'd skip to there. It's the breaking part I don't want to deal with.
I don't think you want to live with either. I'll just play football.
All right.
You're going to get both.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook sustained a hamstring injury in overtime, was sidelined for the remainder of the game. Jason's shaking his head because his backfield is Dalvin Cook and David Johnson.
And Devonta Freeman.
Oh,
Those are my three running backs in our super team.
Uh-oh.
So, Foot Clan, I am with you. If you dealt with some injuries, we together, you, me, we're going to fight through, and we're going to win the hashtag Foot Clan title.
At what point do you have to take the super out of the super team? Like how many
I can do that
losses
now. I can do it right now.
Yeah. It's just
we're a fantasy football team that's going to win the championship despite injuries.
Todd Gurley sat out the fourth quarter of the Cardinals, quote, game with cramps. He was giggling on the sideline. Whatever cramps they were ticklish because he was fine.
I believe they were called shutout cramps is the official term.
Yeah, I had those too. Ajayi was out for all but 2 plays in the first half with a back injury. He did return, he did score, and he continues to be Ajayi for your fantasy team, which is always this. Is that right, Brooks?
Yeah.
Isn't he an adventure every week? Don't you love it?
Yeah.
He ends up being okay.
Yep. Oh. He does something to just make sure he's just fine. Mike Wallace carted off with an ankle injury. Unlikely that he is going to work through this. This could be a season ender.
This is not good for the Philadelphia Eagles. You have Alshon Jeffrey. Who knows when he's coming back? Now Mike Wallace is gone.
Matt Collins is on IR.
Yeah.
When you're backup to when you're backup to the backup tight end has 4 catches, which is what happened in Philadelphia, you know your wide receiver and receiving core is in trouble.
Yeah.
Now,
is it Dallas Goedert time?
I don't know.
It could be.
The backup to Dallas Goedert had 4 catches. So Alshon Jeffrey, though, they did report this morning he is going to practice this week. So
I've assumed from the get-go it's going to be a 2-pack. You're going to get Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey back at the same time.
He's just waiting. He's looking at Wentz. He's like, I'm not going back out there with Foles. You go play with Foles.
Yeah.
He stinks.
That's pretty funny. Greg Zuerlein, Mike, suffered a groin injury. I don't know why I said Mike.
Because he's on my team, and I got a nice goose egg from my kicker.
He's probably going to miss at least a week. The Rams signed a new kicker. There you go.
Should have picked up Zane Gonzalez, Mike.
Yeah, I'll take the 0.
Cowboys have re-signed Bryce Butler. LeGarrette Blount was ejected from the game on Sunday.
Oh, please be suspended. Please get us suspended.
Jason has been unabashedly willing to damage LeGarrette Blount's career for the sake of
Carry on my wayward son.
Anybody watching the games can see who their best running back is by
Matt Patricia can't see it.
10 miles. No, they know it. There's no way that you can't hook them up to a lie detector test and tell me that he doesn't know who his best running back is, but it's you gotta make the rookies earn it.
What does he say again?
He says, you gotta make the rookies earn it and buy axe.
All right. Well, let's pause there and thank Pristine Auction. I don't think any Matt Patricia gear is going on Pristine Auction today, but
nope.
But maybe because there's hundreds of daily auctions over there. The absolute best place to find autographed sports memorabilia to celebrate your week or the future. Look, if you snag some Pat Mahomes gear, you got a bargain because everything's a bargain over there. Keenan Allen, signed jersey, JSA witnessed, authentic, $78.39. Corey Davis, signed jersey, $54 this past week. Oh, sweet mercy. My fantasy MVP. Stefon Diggs, $81.90 for a signed Vikings jersey. Beautiful. Amari Cooper. He actually had a game. $71.25. Joe Mixon. Color Rush. Jersey. $56. Check it out. PristineAuction.com. You can't go wrong. Everyday new auctions, so always something to browse. PristineAuction.com.
And, hey, definitely want to make sure you guys know how to watch all of the games the way that all fantasy football players need to. That is thanks to NFL Game Pass, who is helping to support this show. There are so many great games going on and so many great ways to watch it with NFL Game Pass. You get every game. Once it's completed, you can go back and rewatch it. You can watch it in condensed version where they take out all the in-between snaps, all the commercials. You can watch the whole game so quickly. You can do a player search now where you want to go and see Dallas Goedert and how he's looking as the backup and watch all his snaps. Type his name in there. You want to see him on third downs? Type that in there. It's really unbelievable. It's a tool we use. You can see the coaches film and all sorts of awesome things. That's what we use every single day. Best of all, kick off your pass with a 7-day free trial. Try it out. See if you like it. Sign up now at NFL.com/fantasyfootballers. That's NFL.com Facebook.com/fantasy footballers. Game on.
I got a feature suggestion for that.
My ears are open.
They should, like, if you watch that Cardinal-Rams game, are you able to just filter out the Cardinal part? Like,
I think they did
that.
I think they did that in the live broadcast. I don't remember the Cardinals there.
This week's Fantasy Stud Muffins.
Oh, let's talk about some good things instead of some bad things. Let's talk about the stud muffins from week 2, fantasy implications of these performances, what you're doing with them. Let's start here. J.J. Zacharyson, at late-round quarterback, talked about a very interesting stat. 5 quarterbacks with 30-plus fantasy points this past week, right? Pat Mahomes, Big Ben Roethlisberger,
Kirk Cousins.
Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins, and probably Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's the 5th.
Blake Bortles.
Oh, no, it was. It was actually Blake Bortles. It was
He's got Blake the Snake.
guys,
I got a snake, man.
he's good.
I agree.
He's
That was his best game.
but like NFL good.
He might be.
Wow.
He might be.
In fantasy relevant weeks last season, we only saw 17 total 30-plus point quarterback performances. We had 5 this past week. Fantasy owners love this stuff, right?
It's the return of the wide receivers is what happened. Last year was insanity with wide receiver scoring being way down, and it was with the way that the NFL is trending, everything pointed to that being an anomalous year for the wide receiver, and that things would return. We'd see that positive regression, and so far we are seeing it.
We talked about Patrick Mahomes before the season. All the optimism around the weapons, right? You equip a young quarterback with a rocket arm with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Kareem Hunt, and company. But we said, hey, that schedule looks a little tough.
Yeah,
right?
It did.
You're going to go on the road against the Chargers. You're going to go on the road against Pittsburgh. Might be a little rough.
And then, not to mention, after the San Francisco game, on the road in Denver, and then Jacksonville.
And Pat Mahomes has said, I don't care. 23 for 28, 326, 6 touchdowns, and more impressive to me than, well, not more impressive, but as impressive, 0 interceptions through 2 games for a guy that's been known to, quote, trust the arm too much or force the ball downfield. He is disintegrating the NFL.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's looking like Thanos right now.
He's
snapping the fingers, and that defense just.
At this point,
I don't feel so good.
Nobody look. He was either drafted late or signed off of waivers by most people. Is he a must start under all circumstances now?
Of course, yes, he is.
I'm not starting him against Jacksonville. That's the one team that it's coming up in 3 weeks.
Weren't you starting Brady against Jacksonville?
No.
Jason said he would prefer not to.
I would prefer not to. But look. The reality is he is a must start, or at the very least a must hold. So if I'm going to play someone else in 3 weeks against Jacksonville, I'm not. Usually, I have no problem in almost every league dropping whatever quarterback I have and picking up another one. Even if it's like, well, it's Big Ben, you can't drop him. Yeah, I can. Watch me. But I'm not dropping Pat Mahomes at this point. I will play someone else.
Once he's scorched San Francisco and Denver, we'll check back in with you.
All right.
What's interesting is Big Ben had a similar fantasy performance. I believe in our league of record, he was 4 points worse.
A lot harder.
He was actually a little bit better in a standard format than Mahomes
because of his awesome rushing touchdown.
But here's the thing. He had to throw twice as many passes. He had almost twice as many completions.
For half the touchdowns. What a loser, Big Ben.
What a loser. Big Ben. Look, I've disrespected Fitzpatrick. I didn't include him in that 30-point performance. 27 for 33, 402 yards and 4 against a legitimate defense in Philadelphia. My goodness. Ryan Fitzpatrick, what do you do with him?
What does Tampa Bay do with him?
Oh, you start him.
Yes.
If the team is 3-0, what do you do?
No, it's not a question.
He's the starter.
Yeah, if your team is 3-0, undefeated, in a schedule that you were
it would feel
supposed to
good
be
to
0-3.
bench Winston.
Oh, absolutely.
If I was the GM, I would feel great. It'd be like cathartic to sit him on the bench and say, you don't own this team.
And honestly, at home,
Conor McGregor owns this team.
at home against Pittsburgh next week. I mean, the reason I was so high on Big Ben in this offseason, if you listened, you heard, was because the Steelers' defense is completely beatable right now, and we've seen that through the first 2 weeks that they're going to be in some shootouts, and the Steelers' offense, with Antonio Brown, that offensive line, and of course Juju, are awesome. So now, I mean, it's hard to put your trust in Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he should have an okay game next week.
He's startable, 100%. Now, Mike, what decision are you making with Fitzpatrick in Dynasty?
So I have
Kirk Cousins, right?
Kirk Cousins and Jameis Winston are my primary two quarterbacks. So before the season started, I had basically a burner spot, and it was I'm not going to find myself in a quarterback problem. I'm just going to put Fitzpatrick on there. So if something happens to Cousins in the first 3 weeks, I have a quarterback I could play. And then Fitzpatrick is the greatest quarterback of all time
on your bench.
But Cousins has Buffalo next week.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins was dominant. He was great week 1, dominant week 2, and then he gets to play Buffalo. So I'm not going to play Ryan Fitzpatrick over Cousins.
Look, there were a ton of quarterbacks that did what you needed them to do this week. Kirk Cousins, 35 for 48, 425 and 4. Blake Bortles, 29 for 45, 377 and 4.
With
Matt Ryan, a very impressive performance in this one. Cam Newton, Andy Dalton, Matt Stafford, Phillip Rivers, and then Deshaun Watson pulled it together
towards
for
the
fantasy
end.
owners. What stood out from these quarterbacks?
I was super happy. Technically I was sad because I decided to bench him for a while. Matt Ryan, after week 1, I had legitimate concerns with because it wasn't just that, he was going up against Philadelphia. It was a difficult matchup. He looked bad. He was missing no accuracy on any of his normal passes. He's just, hitting guys low, and so I was worried. But he went home, took care of business, looked great. I was very, very sad that I benched him for Blake Bortles until Bortles did better.
Yeah. Let's talk running backs. Todd Gurley. Yeah, he did a light jog for 3 touchdowns. It was funny this week specifically. The yardage wasn't there for running backs. In fact, I believe Matt Breida was the leader with 11 carries, had 138 yards and a touchdown.
James Conner was
thanks to Pierre Garçon.
James Conner was your running back 5. I believe he had 17 rushing yards.
Wow.
So
what?
Yeah,
that's true.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Gurley, we talked about it. 3 touchdowns, but 42 rushing yards. Melvin Gordon dominated. 28 rushing yards.
It's a really weird week.
Christian McCaffrey had 14 receptions, 37 rushing yards. Saquon Barkley, 14 receptions, 28 rushing yards.
Chris Thompson, 13 receptions, 92 yards, 1 rushing yard.
I mean, this was all the running backs just played wide out this week. It was funny. My son, he asked me, my 7-year-old, he asked me to draw out every position and what everything means in the football game. And so I was telling him what all the wideouts do in the tight ends, and he's been playing some Madden and asking those questions, which is really fun, right? I should have just moved all the running backs to the wideout position this week.
Pass catching running backs. It's a big deal.
It makes a huge look, game script proof, right? Like Saquon, they were coming back all game last night. It didn't matter. 14 receptions.
Yeah.
He basically caught the ball while Eli was being smashed on every play.
Oh, my goodness. That offensive line is bad. And then they lost their starting center.
Yeah. Speaking of losing, Cam Robinson, ACL tear.
Yeah.
Starting left tackle for Blake the Snake. That's disconcerting.
It's a problem. It's definitely a problem.
Zeke did enough. 17 for 78 and a touchdown. James Conner did enough. Got the touchdown. Corey Clement made the most of Ajayi running off the field. Scored a touchdown. Had 5 for 55 through the air. Blow, plow.
Blow, plow.
Only 5 carries for 6 yards, but
don't care.
Did it through the air. I know you don't. I know you don't at all. Bilal Powell is like your Browns. It's just whatever little
fair.
fiber of greatness you can grab, you're going to grab.
Well, Bilal Powell can help you win in fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking a W here. How many W's the Browns got?
Oh, it was great. I'm driving in.
Yeah. Power for life.
I was listening to Dan Patrick on the drive-in, and a caller called in.
That's what they do.
Say how great it is right now to be a Browns fan. And I get it. Like, this is exciting times. You know, it's like their team has been competitive, and I'm just so happy for you, Cleveland. But it's like you still haven't won. You haven't won a game. You've won one game in the last 6.
So what you're saying is the Browns
35
are exactly tied with the Steelers through 2 weeks? Is that what you're telling me?
Ooh.
Division worst.
Let's go to wide receivers, guys. Stefon Diggs and Adam Thielen proved
They're a mighty
two
pair.
can tango. My goodness.
Well, it takes 2 to tango.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't tango without 2.
Well, they clearly understand that. 9 for 128 and 2 touchdowns for Diggs, my fantasy MVP. Adam Thielen, 12 for 131 and 1.
And his touchdown.
Jason's.
If you haven't seen the Adam Thielen touchdown from Cousins, the window is
That's a flag football quarterback play. I mean, that he chucked that, took a shot to the belly button, and that thing fell through like 18 arms into Thielen's.
That's what I say. The window was the size of a football.
Yes.
That's how narrow the gap was for
Unbelievable play. And goodness. All right. So, yeah, wow, you're going to start him. That's the headline there.
Yeah.
Not much to say. We talked about A.J. Green from the Thursday night game. He was one of the studs this week. Michael Thomas is unstoppable.
100% unstoppable. The fact that the passing touchdowns are starting to come from Drew Brees. You saw from Michael Thomas's rookie year that he's great. As a red zone option, and they just didn't come last year. But he is a top 5 every week starter without question.
Let's ask some tougher fantasy questions. Desean Jackson, 4 for 129 and a touchdown. Desean Jackson has, 3 touchdowns this season on a handful of receptions. I think he's averaging 35 yards a catch. Do you just start him now?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as Ryan Fitzpatrick is the quarterback. We saw this back when Ryan Fitzpatrick caught Fitzmagic when he was playing with the Jets, and Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker were incredible for fantasy football because Ryan Fitzpatrick loves the wide receivers.
Yeah, he does not.
I have Mike Evans on my dynasty team. I hope they go forward with Ryan Fitzpatrick because it's great right now for Evans.
It's a bit of a Josh McCown situation.
Yes.
He's not afraid of anything.
Because he has nothing to lose.
Exactly. He's a man playing with
they're dangerous.
No inhibitions.
Winston goes long, but we saw it last year. How many times did Winston go long? Desean Jackson had his man beat, and he missed him by 2 yards. Fitzmagic has that deep ball that can hit a guy in stride, and that's perfect for D-Jax.
When he lets go of the ball, you can't see this because a lot of times the camera follows the ball.
Yeah.
He will pull out his magic wand, and he will cast a Harry Potter spell.
Did you see how he charges it up?
No.
Oh, man, him and an offensive lineman with another incredible great beard. They do Eskimo kisses with their beards. They take their helmets off and just rub beards, and I think the static charges the wand.
Welcome to 2018, Brooks. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
This is a weird week, man.
Now, Brooks, I understand that not only did I defeat you, but your girlfriend defeated you this week as well.
That is correct.
Now, how much of this can be attributed to baby Josh's influence on your life?
About 95%.
Now,
here we go.
Now, Brooks is a co-owner of my formerly super team.
Wait, that's true.
Is baby Josh cursing me through Brooks?
Yeah.
I think maybe
we got to get rid of that dude.
Based on Brooks being the owner of all those teams, it seems like it might just be Brooks. It might not be baby Josh. Will Fuller, 8 for 113 and 1, and more importantly, looked really important.
We're going to talk about Will Fuller.
Keelan Cole, 7 for 116 and 1. Also, Odell Beckham Jr.'d all over the Patriots.
Yes, he did.
Oh, that was
I guess
great.
we're going to talk about him.
Yes, we will.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Nice.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks
Nice.
is very fast.
Yep.
7 for 159 on 9 targets. He's not just fast. He's good.
Oh, he has incredible hands. I mean, he kept if you
Hands,
throw it near
legs, feet.
face, so handsome.
Chris Hogan, 3 for 42 and 2 on 5 targets. Still there.
Absolutely.
Got it done. Nelson Agholor, last man standing, 8 for 88 and a touchdown. He's a good player. He plays Indianapolis next week. You can start Nelson Agholor.
You must start him until Alshon's back. I mean, there's no other options there.
Here are I want to talk about these guys. Antonio Callaway, 3 for 81 and 1, played on 80% of the snaps. What do you do with Antonio Callaway now that Josh Gordon's out the door?
You have to. He must be added. This I am sure.
I am sure.
This I am sure. Lee confident in.
I'm not so confident. Now,
Get out of here.
What? No. I'm with
no.
Jason. Look,
Here's the thing.
James Washington had 80% of the snaps this week. I didn't hear you say start James Washington.
Because he's the third option at best.
But
Same
Tyrod
snap
Taylor,
count.
Tyrod Taylor does not usually – I mean, this was my argument against Josh Gordon, was that Tyrod Taylor is not a high-volume guy. And, yes, Antonio Callaway had a good game, but he only had 4 targets on the game, and one of them happened to be a super deep touchdown. If he doesn't get that, you're never talking about him as a must-add just because he played a lot of snaps. I'm not sold. Now, if you want to grab him, I'm not anti –
Is he a mustache?
No, that's my point, is I don't feel like he's a must-stash. He's a fun – Kenny Golladay could be out on waivers.
He's a fun
There's no
stash?
chance I'm taking Callaway over Golladay.
You're not?
I agree with that. I would
No,
Golladay,
targets.
That's why Golladay was a must-add last week. Antonio Callaway is a very good player, and he will be taking Josh Gordon's role in the offense.
He's very fast.
Yes, he's
Amari Cooper, 10 for 116 on 10 targets. Wait,
Remember you?
10 receptions on 10 targets? That's
Derek,
that's a very high percentage of catching the ball.
Derek Carr, I believe, was in the high or mid-90s when it came to completion percentage. I'm remembering this off the top of my head. I'll pull up the number.
So, yeah, give me that. That's
Cooper.
They still lost.
I had said this to a co-owner of mine because you bench when
There's not mid-90s, I apologize, but 90.6% completion.
That's insane.
It was the record for the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper was on everybody's benches this week, and that's why he was able to perform. Where I mean,
he was on your bench.
Yes, he was.
I want to talk tight ends. Travis Kelce, big bounce back week, 7 for 109 and 2. Hopefully you didn't. Hopefully you listened and did not panic and did not trade him last week just because Mahomes didn't find him.
I tried to trade for him pretty hard the night before Saturday night, and
I was concerned. I had my concerns that Pat Mahomes was going to be a wide receiver, like a Fitzpatrick type of targeting. But
you saw it in
we're
preseason.
good.
Jesse James.
Stealing all my Vance Dance points.
Can't do a Vance Dance when Jesse James puts up 5
James.
for 138 and 1 on 5 targets. Mike, you want to take away any of this Vance excitement?
Well,
no Vance in your pants?
No, I mean, that excitement went away when Vance McDonald got hurt early on.
Let's talk about Evan Engram.
Oh, the garbage.
Now, Mike, you were in the midst of a very close fantasy battle yesterday, and Evan Engram was doing nothing, and then a minute was left in the game, and he scored a touchdown.
He wasn't doing nothing.
He was doing very little.
He was having an average game. I think he was right around the 4 for 40, right around that range. And then the garbage time touchdown came through it, and it was a glorious moment.
And you were saying things like, just give me all of the garbage you can, rub it on my body.
And then there was a few more after the touchdown. It was great.
Yeah, because they got a fumble.
Yeah.
So,
no, they
recovered
an onside kick.
So, O.J. Howard, 3 for 96 and 1. How are you reacting to O.J. Howard's game? So, I know how I'm reacting to it.
O.J. Howard, to me, is more of a must-stash because I don't believe Fitzpatrick will utilize him. I mean, we've said this before. He only had 4 targets in the game, 3 receptions. But the reason that he is a must-stash is because it is, if Fitzpatrick comes out, has a bad game, Jameis Winston is not suspended. Jameis could be back in a week. And the thing about O.J. Howard, and we said this in preseason, is that in preseason he looked to be the clear dominant tight end. I flip-flop Cameron Brayton, O.J. Howard, and he is a different level of human. He's like the Kelce, like the Gronk. He is a special individual, and if they utilize him, if Winston comes back and they utilize him as the pass-catching tight end, he is the type that has that top 5 potential to me, so he's must-stash for now.
The concern for me with O.J. Howard is that in 18 NFL games, and I just looked this up, 2 times in 18 games, he's had more than 3 receptions.
Yeah, but last year was his rookie season.
That is included in his career.
Yeah, but I'm just saying rookie tight ends usually don't.
Also,
have a
this
lot of,
year he hasn't caught more than 3 passes
in 2 games.
in 2 games.
Okay.
So, what is your point against that?
Well, I'm just saying he had
so if you
96
throw out
yards and a touchdown.
If you
this
throw
week.
out all of his games, then my stat is incorrect.
No,
is that what you just said?
You're not accounting for
He
growth.
just said through 2 games, and then you throw out his rookie year.
Well, you could say that about literally every tight end not named Evan Engram. I mean, stats that are crazy bad going into their second
He doesn't
year.
catch a high quantity of passes. He's not targeted a high frequency. My concern is you have to have a 75-yard touchdown from O.J. Howard to get anything.
I will agree with you.
I'm not saying
while
you can't add him.
Fitzpatrick is the quarterback.
Okay. All right. Zach Ertz, 11 for 94. He's your beneficiary from a lack of a wide receiver core because he's really good. He just missed the touchdown, too, but 13 targets for a tight end. That's a boss game. Jimmy Graham, 6 for 95.
Yeah.
I think he had a touchdown call back.
He did, on a holding call.
He could have been my rising star this week because it's the type of utilization that we were afraid was never going to come, and seeing that is, look, if he's not just a touchdown upside guy, that's huge. I mean, because you already know that the touchdown upside is there with Aaron Rodgers, so he's a guy to keep your eye on.
All right, we're going to talk about rising stars right now. Jason, why don't you kick it off?
All right, dude. I'm going with
Dude.
Well, you got to say, dude, you got to keep it cool because I'm talking about Keelan Cool, Mr. Smooth Man himself.
Sweet mercy.
Keelan Cool last year was awesome. Okay, over the last
Are we going with this?
No.
Can I get a ruling from the judge? Okay, come on, judge. Oh, he's shaking his head no, but it feels right. He's Keelan Cool.
Nah.
Oh. All right.
You can
keep
move,
talking about Keelan Cole. That's
No,
fine.
you can move forward with Keelan Cole. We're going to try it on.
All right, we'll try it on for size. Over the last 6
remember those Joe Cool shirts? Do you remember those?
Yeah, with Snoopy.
With Snoopy? My dad wore those all the time.
Wait, I thought that was like cigarette sweet.
No.
Well, no, there was Joe Cool.
No, Joe Cool is Snoopy. You're thinking of
Joe Camel?
Yeah.
And Cool.
Joe
anyways.
Cool was Snoopy with hate blockers on.
Yep.
So listen to this. Over the last 6 regular season games, he's averaging 107.5 yards.
This is Keelan Cole, right?
Cole, sure. 5.5 catches and over a half a touchdown per game. You look at the last part, of last year. You look at his college production. I know he was undrafted, but he was unbelievably dominant in college. And now, forget the stats that bear out positive for him. Watch the film as well.
He's the best wide receiver on that team.
He's always open. When he caught that one-handed catch and just kept running with it, holding it above the defender, I mean, he's the one to own if you want to take a shot at the Jaguars' receiving corps.
Yeah, he's startable to me.
Yes.
He's a must-start wide receiver. So he's a rising star?
Certainly.
Mine is Phillip Lindsey.
Yep.
Running back for the Denver Broncos. It's funny because we have 2 undrafted players here. Phillip Lindsey was another player with dominant collegiate production that was completely ignored, not invited to the combine, not drafted. First undrafted player in NFL history with 100-plus yards from scrimmage in his first 2 NFL games. Listen to this. Graham Barfield tweeted out the snap breakdown through the first 2 weeks in Denver. Phillip Lindsey, 40% snap rate, 23 routes run, 32 touches. Royce Freeman, 33% snap rate, 19 routes run, 23 touches. And then Devonta Booker down at 28% snap rate. He is involved. He is being used all in and around the red zone. He is making big plays. He is a flex-worthy running back start.
They just need to get rid of Booker.
Yeah.
If it was just Phillip Lindsey and Royce Freeman,
they're 2-0 too. I mean, this is working.
It's troublesome
for
Royce Freeman. I mean, Phillip Lindsey's very, very good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's He's been incredible. We do have breaking news, though.
Breaking news.
Eagles say that Carson Wentz is cleared and will start Sunday. So, there we go. That was
Soon to be breaking news.
So,
Alshon Jeffrey is healthy and ready to go.
that came through on the sleeper alert.
Wham.
Wow.
So my rising star, Will Fuller. It's time to stop discounting and throwing Will Fuller away. The man is dominating for not just real football, but fantasy football as well. 8 for 113 with a score this past week. Currently wide receiver 8 on the week. Here are Will Fuller finishes when games that he plays with Watson, with this quarterback, Deshaun Watson. 7, 16, 17, 3. Currently wide receiver 8. Will Fuller is dominating when Deshaun Watson is on the field. 8 receptions. This was not a one trick. He caught an Antonio Callaway deep bomb. Will Fuller's a wide receiver too.
Keelan Cole or Will Fuller rest of the season?
Oh, that's a great one. I would go Keelan Cole because I'm still going to bank on target volume when they both can break a game open.
Fuller.
Would you?
And I like Keelan
Would you
Cole.
flex? Would you rather flex those two over Phillip Lindsey?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Phillip Lindsey's been great, but because of Royce Freeman and Devonta Booker, he's hamstrung from having a monster game.
And I know this is a little weird, but I really want to see his utilization on the road when he's not. He's a Denver born and bred guy, and playing in front of that home crowd. I want to see him on the road in the NFL.
All right. A reminder, the Rising Stars this year brought to you by FantasyChamps.com. You can get trophies. You can get fantasy jerseys, high-quality materials, custom engravings. This is where you go. If you're a fantasy champ, or you hope to be, or you've been one before, or you will be in the future, just go to FantasyChamps.com.
I will be.
Just believe.
No.
Believe.
No, they have a different website for you.
Gotta believe.
It's FantasyChumps.com.
No! Get bodied, Jason.
Pooped in his big boy pants.
Look, that wasn't nice. That wasn't nice of me. But you're my friend.
It's fine. I'll take it out on the field.
All right. Pooped in their big boy pants. This is what everyone wants to talk about, right? The guy's letting them down. What in the world do they do with them? Do you overreact? Do you trade? Do you hold? Let's talk about David Johnson.
David Johnson
This is a problem.
Is extremely concerning. He shouldn't have even had a touchdown week 1. The Arizona Cardinals offense looked so bad they couldn't move the ball. This week they literally did not cross the 50-yard line until the last minute of garbage time in the game. That's how putrid. Now, if you're a team that can't get to the 50-yard line on offense,
You're not going to score.
I don't care what position or how great you are, you're not putting up fantasy points.
Sam Bradford is the worst-rated quarterback in the NFL. He has the worst passer rating of any quarterback in the NFL. So check number 1 against you.
His bank account is rated very highly, though.
Mike McCoy has bought the 11-volume John Fox encyclopedia set and studied it what's the word I'm looking for?
I have no
fastidiously?
idea.
Yeah, I believe that is correct. And you best believe it was the hardcover.
It was.
Well, he can afford it.
Look at this. I mean, I don't know where to begin with David Johnson, but the equivalent of what Mike McCoy is doing with David Johnson is David Johnson is a world-renowned chef on the field, and McCoy is asking for hamburgers. I mean, this is...
I don't like that analogy at all because I love hamburgers. They
Look,
can be,
It's
they
a
can be amazing.
great analogy.
It's ridiculous. David Johnson is not being split out as a wide receiver the way he was under Bruce Arians. He's being run. If you see his runs, every run by David Johnson was an inside run this past week. Every single
mind-blowing.
one. In 2016, when David Johnson owned the NFL, he ran 31 routes a game. In weeks 1 through 2, he's running 16 routes a game. His numbers of routes run compared to Chase Edmonds, his backup, they're comparable.
That's the concerning part. The total number of routes run isn't that concerning because the Cardinals haven't had the ball yet on the season is what it feels like. But we say we don't know where to start with David Johnson. I know where to end with David Johnson.
Oh, tell me.
Despite all of this crazy neck-wringing information, you hold him. You do not freak out on David Johnson. You have to also have
What
reality.
do you buy him, though? What if you're – because if you're going to hold him, do you go seeking David Johnson because better and brighter days are ahead?
I don't think so. I'll always look whenever a great player has two terrible games, I'll go and see if I can get him for pennies on the dollar. But I'm not calling for David Johnson to be the David Johnson we all hoped for the rest of the season, but I'm saying you can't sell him right now at his lowest. And keep in mind, he was going up against the great Los Angeles Rams defense when they were running straight up the middle. It was to a pack of Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. This was a bad game, but coming up, you've got
Chicago,
in the next 3
Seattle,
weeks, Chicago, and San Francisco 2 weeks after.
They're at home for 2 weeks in a row.
Right. So you just can't sell him right now. I think that would be a mistake.
Do you feel like you want to weigh in here, Mike? I mean, we are the hometown Arizona Cardinal fans.
I'm trying to be measured and not incite panic with my word choice. But 2 years ago, we saw who is now considered the best running back in the NFL. We saw Todd Gurley on a terrible offense with terrible play calling was a monster bust for fantasy football. So that's what keeps running through my head is, oh crap, is this what we're running into again, where the team is going to be so bad and not know how to run an offense that we're in for big trouble with David Johnson?
Do you have any hope because Josh Rosen could take over at some point?
Not really. I don't expect Rosen to
get a first down.
Rosen
Bradford had 0 first downs.
Yeah, Rosen gives you hope, but it's probably false hope.
So what people want to know right now is should they bail? And so Jason, you're saying no.
I'm saying
let's say that some trade offers come through. Someone is offering you Leonard Fournette for David Johnson. Would you take that trade?
I don't think so due to the current injury with Leonard Fournette. The fact that it's a hamstring, it's re-aggravatable. No.
Would you trade, also injured, but did someone comes with Dalvin Cook? Would you trade David Johnson for Dalvin Cook?
Because of the injury, at the very least, you have to wait and get more details.
Kareem Hunt.
Oh, yes. I would trade David
Kareem?
Johnson for Kareem Hunt right
Wow.
now. I think the offense of the Chiefs, I would much rather have a piece of that.
All right,
So with the Cardinals.
Last one, Jordan Howard.
No, I don't believe so. I want the pass catching back. You talked about Todd Gurley. I think
But is he a pass catching? We know he is great, but does the team know that?
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be utilized in the passing game. And you bring up a great comp of Todd Gurley 2 years ago. Terrible season, huge disappointment. Keep in mind, he was still a running back too. If you look at his weekly, I'm looking at the 2016 consistency charts from the Ultimate Draft Kit, and Todd Gurley, yes, he was very disappointing, but he still got it done. Most weeks he was an RB2 or better. He just never gave you those top 5 performances.
That's what I'm asking of. In fantasy football, you have to call your shots. And, wow. Okay, so
you don't want him to burn you down if you think he's...
So he ends up as a running back, too. I mean, sure, that's great. Not for where you drafted him.
No, you trade David Johnson. If you want to call your shot and believe he's going to be an RB2, you trade him. But what I'm saying is you don't trade him now. You don't trade him on the heels of a disgusting game. You look at Todd Gurley's, 2 of his first 3 weeks in that 2016 season, actually 3 or 4, running back 49, running back 30, running back 25. When you traded him then, you got pennies on the dollar. The next week, he's the running back 12. You want to wait for a good performance, not coming off of the Rams game.
When you get that good performance, it's
but
so
then you're
going
to buy back in.
By the way,
write yourself a note
from
like
what
it's
I
draft day,
understand,
fold it up, and it says
David Johnson, no matter what.
Yes,
Jeff Fisher,
Jeff
and Mike McCoy, they hit the old arcade. They play the Pac-Man together. That's what they do. They hang out and they reminisce.
When they're feeling crazy, they go Mrs. Pac-Man.
Right, exactly. Dion Lewis, Derrick Henry, both disappointing fantasy weeks. 18 carries for Derrick Henry for 56 yards. Dion Lewis, 14 for 42, only 1 reception. I'm going to no Marcus Mariota this week. Dogfight of a game. I'm not going to read too much into this.
Okay. I agree, but next week they get Jacksonville.
Isaiah Crowell stunk. 12 for 35. Nothing special there. Bad game against Miami. Game script was against him. It was more in favor of Bilal Powell, but that's the problem with Isaiah Crowell.
Oh, revenge game next week.
Disappointing performance. Adrian Peterson. 11.
Yeah.
Look, that team, that was a game script problem too. They were down the whole game. They did not come out to play.
One of the most impressive performances of the week was the Indianapolis Colts defense, because I mean, they looked like the worst defense in the. They were competing with Buffalo for who could be worse, and they went on the road to a competent offense, and they really did shut down a lot of what Alex Smith was trying to do. It was impressive to me. I don't know that I buy in, but it's one of those things that you continue to watch the trend and say what you expect from week one when it comes to team defenses. Those team defenses are the things that change more often than any other position over the course of the season.
All right, I'm going to blitz a few names, guys, and I want to know how worried you are on a scale of 1 to 10. All right, Duke Johnson,
7,
8,
Rex Burkhead, 6 for 22 this week.
8,
7,
Sonny Michel, 10 for 34.
2,
4.
Peyton Barber, 16 for 22. He's put 2 single-digit games together when he's had the entire backfield.
Yeah, this is Ronald Jones has been a healthy scratch for 2 weeks. Would not be surprising to see Ronald Jones get a chance in week 3.
and I would say 7.
Marlon Mack was 10 for 34. The best runner of this game was still Jordan Wilkins. Nyheim Hines was very inefficient. He had one.
Except for his touchdown run.
Yeah, he has
my goodness.
7-yard touchdown run, but he was really bad. And Marlon Mack was really bad. And Jordan Wilkins was the best of the bad. So you're just kind of bleh about this whole backfield, or do you still have confidence in Mack, Mike?
Nope.
Jason?
Mack, man.
I have confidence that Mack is the best of the 3 backs. I don't have confidence for fantasy that that's going to matter much.
Wide receivers that pooped the bed. Demaryius Thomas, 5 for 18. Odell Beckham Jr., 4 for 51. Really let you down last night. That offense can't move the ball right now.
Yeah, the Giants, the Buffalo Bills, and the Cardinals.
Maybe the Giants knew they could take Saquon because they could take a quarterback the next year.
Neat idea.
Maybe that was the strategy. I mean,
maybe.
I think the NFL has passed Eli by. I think it's done.
Well, honestly, I don't think we even got a chance to see. I've never seen so many players in a backfield. I mean, their offensive line was unbelievable. Every snap, Eli Manning's basically having to run, and we all know he can't do that.
Hopefully you traded Robbie Anderson off his touchdown last week. We told you to, and he was 3 for 27 this week, also fumbled. Not a good week. Jamison Crowder does not look like his future with Alex Smith is going to be strong. 2 for 29. Kenny Stills, 2 for 17.
Boo, Kenny.
And Randall Cobb, 4 for 30 against Minnesota after the big week.
It was a huge disappointment.
You can't trust the Dallas wideout. Cole Beasley, 2 for 13. Alan Hearns, 1 for 9. Michael Gallup, 1 for 5. Deontay Thompson got a lot of targets in that game. You can throw them all away. Sterling Shepard, 3 for 24. Disappointing week. And Ted Ginn, 4 for 55. That's fine.
Yeah, but the fumble killed him.
Yeah, he fumbled. And then Rob Gronkowski matched up against Jalen Ramsey. They went away from him. 2 for 15.
Gotta bench him.
George Kittle.
That's the bigger news.
2 for 22.
Let's ask you, Mister. You went hard in the paint after George Kittle. What's your level of oh crap?
None.
Okay.
None. And I don't. It's not pride. It's not stubbornness. It's simply 4 targets, 2 catches. The game script here was one where they were,
they could have used him.
No, they were protecting a lead almost the entire game. I mean, they had a big lead over my almost upset of the week, Detroit, who almost came back to win but didn't. 3-point gap. Almost is going to be a word associated with Matt Patricia a lot this year. But Kittle had an end zone target he was interfered with that he probably would have come down with. I'm not that concerned about it.
Okay.
I'm not either.
And then, I mean, I was disappointed in David Njoku this week. I thought he had an opportunity to step up in lieu of, in light of the Josh Gordon news. He didn't do it. Jonnu Smith, 0 targets, but a high snap. High snap count.
What happened was that Blaine Gabbert came in. This is the weirdest game, right? Tennessee.
They won, by the way.
Sucked. Every player for Tennessee on both sides of the field sucked, and they won the game. It makes no sense.
So it's Derrick Henry Wildcat snaps.
It was just it
yeah,
really
Corey
was
Davis,
crazy.
5 for 55, nothing special.
I don't understand how they won the game.
Damn.
But they did.
They did.
They got a 1-0 this week.
They got a 1-0.
They gotta want to know.
Hey, Ma.
What did he say earlier about getting hot? What did he call it? Hitting hot?
Yeah.
You were on.
You're on fire today.
You're on fire.
I'm hitting hot.
You were not 0-2 for your analysis.
Thank you.
Let's put it that way.
And hey, Foot Clan, don't forget about the NFL Game Pass. It is awesome. It gives you every NFL game on your time, your schedule. See all the standout performances, your favorite games. Show the coaches film, the All-22 film. Watch it quickly. Best of all, you can get it started with a 7-day free trial of NFL Game Pass. So go to NFL.com/fantasyfootballers. That's NFL.com/fantasyfootballers. Game on.
Enjoy your Monday Night Football game, Foot Clan. Thanks for supporting the podcast. Join the Foot.com as the community. Check out draft.com/ballers if you're going to play some daily. And we'll talk to you tomorrow with lots of news.
Waivers. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.